Good evening, and thank you for joining me on this platform. I am so happy that you tuned in. This is the place where we have conversation. We talk about uncomfortable truth. Uncomfortable because they are cold, hard, but we need to confront them. We need to talk about those issues. And today we want to talk, and it's a follow-up of the conversation we had last week, about the strength of the Haitian diaspora. What is the current strength of the Haitian diaspora? We're trying to get this basic understanding of what it takes for the diaspora, the Haitian diaspora, to play its role, to answer its calling. But for us to do that, we have to be willing to address flaws and weaknesses that we may have. We must be willing to have conversation with people who may be from a minority group, people with dissenting opinions. And I challenge anyone to join me on this platform for that conversation, not because I will always be right, but because that conversation is worth having. As you may know, on August the 25th, I will have a conference on the role of the Haitian church related to the crisis in Haiti. We'll give you more information as we get closer to it. But tonight, I want to look at this community, the things that prevent us from becoming stronger. And you know that we said it in the 70s, it's not the same community that we had then that we have today. We've grown in so many ways. Today, when you look at Florida, a lot of Haitians are running for office. In this political season, we have a Haitian running for the Senate, the U.S. Senate from Florida, trying to get the running in the primary within the Democratic Party. But we also have others who are running for a school district. We've interviewed her. We have people running for the port commissioner, for state senate, different position. Now, it's easy to look at this, to look at the sheer number of Haitians living in the United States, the sheer number of Haitians living in Florida or New Jersey or New York, and to think that we are a strong community. My argument to you is that we are far from being a strong community. We have so much that we need to do. On the basis that we are strong, we sometimes have rallies. Look at what happened last year when Bishop Gregory Toussaint mobilized its churches. It's a network of churches from different places to have a rally that in terms of numbers was the greatest success that we've had. But we need to measure that success based on what was the request we made. What was the plea that we were making? What was the argument that we formulated? What is it that we wanted? What was the purpose? What was the aim of that march? And then you have a different story. It's nothing personal against Bishop Gregory. I believe that he did something a lot of people. He showed the leadership that was needed. But when we're looking at the collective group, we look at us as a group, as an ethnic group, and we need to ask ourselves, what is our strength? How do we assess that strength, and how do we strengthen ourselves? And I want to give you some tips, and these are not by no means the only way to strengthen the community. But I'm just adding my own insight into that conversation. Maybe you have some ideas that could be discussed, and I would not mind inviting you here, join me here around this table, and we have that conversation. I have a young man that I will bring here soon, and he has unique ideas about what we need to do as a community. So we have a lot of people running. We have a lot of march and everything, but we need to understand the dynamic of the environment in which we live. Because the strength of the Haitian diaspora will determine our success in terms of advocating for Haiti. The same way the Jews are becoming, they are very strong at making the case for the United States. This past week, we saw Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu address Congress. But I can tell you there was a lot of what you saw on cameras was not the whole story. Communities, Jewish communities around throughout America were putting pressure on Republican legislators to make that happen. And they keep the pressure because they are organized. Not necessarily that they are uniform in their opinions. They are very much, they have diverse views on a lot of things. But when it comes to defending the interests of Israel, they come together. Can we say the same about the Haitian diaspora? I know that we had a group who, right before the march, and they've been talking about that march longer than Pastor Gregory. And they were trying to rally different groups to come. They were not successful. That was a march that did not have the same clout as Pastor Gregory's. That same group, Mouvement de l'Amour pour Haïti, they had a congress. They met virtually to have conversation about how do we address the crisis in Haiti, and they were trying to put pressure on international negotiators to say this is what the Haitian people want. This is what we need. This is what we're trying to accomplish. Now, the reason they're not listening to our voices is because we are not organized. Organized in the sense that we are not united to be able to carry action that will create a situation where they feel they must listen because all actions have consequences that they don't want to see. Today, we don't have a way, we don't know what is the Haitian interest. And that's the first conversation that we need to have to define the Haitian agenda. When someone comes and say, I'm running for office, whether that person is Haitian or not, and I'm not going to base my vote on the fact that you're of Haitian background. My question will always be, what do you bring for this community? And people in New Jersey, people in Boston, people in Ohio, they need to ask the same question. We need to have conversation about how do we move collectively to a better place. Because individually, you can tell that Haitians have accomplished a lot. We go to a lot of places where we find Haitians who reach the top. But as a group, we're not doing as well. And my challenge to you is that let's change that dynamic. Let's have a different conversation, a different way of dealing with things so that we can get to a better position as a community. When we, even for people who are not of Haitian background who come in to have conversation with us, and I'm going to give you one example of what happened. Back in, I believe, 2016, there was an effort by the Republican Party in Palm Beach County. And the promise was made that we will raise the money to build a Haitian center. And I remember at that time saying that this is a political stunt. Well, today, where's the center? And nobody's asking that question. We need to be able to say what happened then. Regardless of what political party made the promise, regardless of who made a promise to the Haitian community, we need to show them that when you come to us and you say something, then we hold our end of the bargain. You need to do it, or else something will happen. The person who said it, who made the promise, never delivered, but ended up becoming commissioner, and the community has nothing to say about it. A lot of people don't even remember, because not long ago we had another meeting where another politician comes and say, well, we'll build a Haitian center, and we're so happy, not understanding that sometimes they take us, most of the time they take us for granted, and we go, we're very happy, we're all smiling, and we're having conversation about things that will never happen. And that's what I'm talking about. To say, how do we change the dynamic of those conversations? Because the first thing is that it should not be that someone else is leading the charge. It should not be that someone else is defining the agenda. We know what doesn't work. Years ago, we had a leadership conference in Palm Beach County where we had key people from the community who came and have conversation about issues, whether it was juvenile delinquency, whether it was immigration, business development, health, all those in family. And we had very meaningful conversation. That's a start. Every county, every city in the United States, Haitians should come together and say, what are the issues that impact us and where we found ourselves? Because what may be the challenge for you in New York, what may be the challenge for you in Indiana, may not be this challenge for us in Palm Beach County, or even in Miami, or even in Broward. So every group, everywhere we find ourselves, yes, there's this big Haitian diaspora, but we have pockets of communities that face challenges that are sometimes unique. It's not the same. And we need to define that. And when we have a conversation with politicians, it should be on the basis of this is what the Haitian community here needs. Not about the job that we can find for ourselves. Too often that's the conversation we're having. And those conversations will not strengthen our community. When it's self-serving, when it's about one individual, again, like I said, as individuals, Haitians have made it. A lot of Haitians have made it. And you can go walk into a bank to find that one of the top people, they could be Haitian. Or you go to the school district to realize how many Haitians are in key position within the school district in your area. So we have to change the conversation to what do we need. When we have Haitians in Belgrade. And they face unique challenges. How do we help them? How do we organize them? And that organization is a structure that has intentionality, meaning that we're moving towards goals that we specifically set based on identified needs. So we have to make sure that we move with clear intention, but that we are determined to pursue those goals and make sure that we get to where we are, and we have a process to assess whether we're making progress or not. And when we realize that we're not making progress, we say, how do we change it? How do we fix it? So, making sure that we are a strong community means that we have to change the way that we do things, the way that we operate. We have to start thinking in terms of we, not in terms of I. We need to stop looking at the personal success story. Except for times when we can use those personal success stories to motivate people to get to the point that we want to get to. So it's important that we have those conversations and understand history, because the past makes the present, that's what Baldwin said, makes the present coherent. We don't understand today unless we go back and understand what happened before. When we're talking about Haitian Center, we need to understand that we've had centers before and understand what happened with them. Understand the mistakes that we've made before. Places where Haitians are running, we need to understand other Haitians have run before. What happened? Even those who lost their election, what happened that caused them to lose those elections? And how do we change the dynamic? The willingness and ability to get to a point where we say, let's look back, instead of thinking of ourselves as big, but to look at mistakes that we've made along the way. That's a key. That's a good way of allowing ourselves to improve on our performance. So I ask you, I challenge you to get to a point where we have those conversations, to understand our past, to recognize the accomplishments, but to also assess the threats and the challenges that we face, so that we can come up with consistent and coherent plans to address them. I believe that we can be a strong community, but let's start getting to the point where we can assess where we are, because you don't move forward unless you understand where you find yourself actually. What is my current situation? What are the challenges that I face? How do I meet those challenges? Do I have what it takes? And the other things that we need to do is to start pointing fingers, and I'm going to come back after the pause to talk more about that. This is the CHERIZA Report.
Nous t'égons comme un smart, qu'on a affaire au glace.
Welcome back. We are talking about the current strength of the Haitian diaspora, and I'm glad that you take the time to join us. Whether you're listening through, we have a network of media outlet: Radio Nouvelle Lumière, WZOP in Broward, WOTS in Kissimmee, WNDO in Orlando, Radio Delta in Long Island, New York, and for Diaspora TV, Miami, Broward, Palm Beach, and Port St. Lucie. So if you're listening through one of those channels, we thank you, and we're glad that you are here. You can reach me at 561-252-3735, 561-252-3735. In case you have questions or you have suggestion of issues that we can bring to the table to discuss on this platform. But it always will be related to how do we move forward? How do we get a sense of where we are and make sure that we identify the key players. We're strengthening ourselves. But strengthening ourselves is based on an agenda. What is the Haitian agenda? What is the Haitian agenda? We talk a lot about what's happening in Haiti. We talk a lot about the situation, the politics in Haiti. But is that it? Is that the only issue that we care about? Or are there other things that have an impact on our lives as citizens who live somewhere else, not in Haiti? Where you find, whether you're in Orlando, you're in Kissimmee, Broward, you're in Boston, you're in New York, Long Island, there's always something that defines you based on that environment. Where you find yourself, you face unique challenges. So how do we come together as a group and we say, what is it that we face and how do we fight back? How do we make sure that we have enough understanding, but resources, so that we can help and we can make sure that the community that we have today is not the same 10 years from now? That we are better, that we are stronger. And politics is one key metric, but that's not the only one. It's one key metric of our strength. The other metrics of our strength is education. What are we doing related to education to make sure that our kids are going through the school system? A school system that understands whatever challenges that they have. I always feel that we need to understand Haitian from the perspective of traumatized people. We've been through so much. We've been through so much since the earthquake. And some people would even say since the fall of the Duvalier in 1986. We are traumatized. How do we take that into account to understand behaviors, to understand our predisposition to certain and specific things? How do we understand that? How do we explain it? And how do we heal from old wounds? What are we to do as a community? Because this is not something we can do in isolation. Our kids, when we send them to the school system, we do need to understand that, especially those who are coming from Haiti, there's a difference between the school system in Haiti and the school system here in the United States. How do we help them? make that transition. We do understand that some families are broken. And I will be very hard on the churches to say, what are you doing? You talk about the rate of divorce, but what are you doing to help prevent those divorces? What are some of the things that you do? I'm not asking what grant you're gonna find to do what they want you to do. I'm asking you what issues that you've identified and come up with a plan to address them. How do we help Haitians, young Haitians, learn in the United States? And I'm sure every community will have different issues that they face. In Palm Beach County, there was some years ago that we had a report on the performance of Haitian students, and we know reading was an issue. We know math was an issue. But we were waiting to see what is the school district gonna do, instead of thinking what can we do as a community to address that. The other metrics of our strength is business development. How do we help the spirit of entrepreneurship to guide our actions so that we have businesses that can succeed, that can thrive? We know that in general, most businesses, when they first launch, within the first 5 years, they may go out of business. But when we have that information, how do we help our brothers and sisters who are interested in starting a business? Say, I'm going to give you the tools that you need. How do we help them find the resources that they need to avoid being victims of those who prey on people who have limited information on what it means to have business? In our community, we had a mini FX that caused a lot of people are hurt by what happened with the mini FX, because they invested their money and they trusted people to invest their money, but it was not what they thought it was. We have the trucking business in Florida. So we have a lot of people who prey on individuals in our community because there's a lack of information. Why not organizing ourselves into real chamber of commerce? I know that in Miami they have that, but how do we replicate that all over and have those chamber of commerces have conversation around what does it take to invest? What is the risk of investment? When someone comes to you and say, oh, I'll guarantee you 125% return, how do you know that this is not consistent with reality? Those chamber of commerces, they can do that. If we organize those chambers to do those things, we have better businesses. And they can advocate, even in terms of how do we make sure that our businesses can become preferred vendors for counties or municipalities? Who's advocating? Who's making sure that we bring this to the table of discussion? Sometimes you may even have Haitians who are elected and they're not having those conversations. But when we have different organizations able to articulate those positions, we stand a better chance. So you see, our agenda is not just immigration. It's not just immigration. When we're talking about politics, like we talked about earlier, why can't we have a political action committee that is able to identify the Haitian votes, keep in touch with that vote, to educate the vote, and to mobilize that vote. So we need to make sure that at that level we're doing whatever it takes. But the other metrics for measuring our strength is our places of faith or churches. I grew up in the church, but I'd be the first to recognize that all churches have failed. They fail to understand the challenges that we face, and we're going through those dark moments with no guidance. Those dark moments, we're going through those dark moments not being able to understand what does it mean and where is God in all this. We're going through it not, the church is from an organizational standpoint, one of the places that we know we can find people and we can organize them. But how open are we? How open are our churches to do that? Because as of the last few years, what we've been focusing on is how big a church we can get. I don't have a problem with large church, but when you have a member of your church who has kids in the school system and they receive a phone call that says your kid was involved in drugs and we need you to come because we need to have a conversation, and they're scared, are you able to go and be there, be a support to them? Those people are losing loved ones and they have no way to mourn. Are you there for them? Even back during the pandemic, and you have so many nurses who are going to work and coming home, and in their mind they're thinking, is it the day I'm gonna bring this to my family? Where were you? So you see, the organizing the community takes various shapes and forms. It's not one thing. It's not about immigration. It's not about what's happening in Haiti. But how do we look at them here and say, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it to move from point A to point B? There are so many other ways of looking at it. Health. So how strong are we? When we face diseases that we don't even understand how to deal with them. Diabetes, hypertension, asthma, or Haitian diet is a challenge to managing diabetes. Can we have conversation and understand, oh, this is a challenge, what can we do? Because even in terms of business development, somebody could look at this and say, I'm interested in health, therefore let me look at this and see, because that's a service they need. A lot of people with diabetes, they say, yeah, I hear a lot of, you cannot eat this, you cannot that, but what can I eat? How do I adjust from griot, banan, diri to something somebody identify as healthier, but I don't really understand? So for us to become a stronger community, we need to be willing to look into those issues, those metrics of strength, and say, how are we doing along those lines? What needs to happen? How do we change things to make sure that we can move forward? Because it is important. It is important to look at our businesses. It is important to look at our churches. It is important to look at the way our kids are going through the school system. It is important to look at our families to see the structure, the dynamic of those families, where they are failing, so that we can come up with effective strategies to help them overcome the challenges. Some of them they have issues managing their money. So all those things will be part of that conversation and will help define the Haitian agenda. So you and I, we have work to do. Whether you belong to an organization, you belong to a church, you're just a member of the community, we have work to do. Identifying those issues, recognizing those metrics, that's just a first step. But then what are we doing with it? I have a friend who just had a conversation with me and say, I just went to an event and I'm looking at needs, unmet needs among Haitians, and my heart broke. But beyond that, beyond looking at them and say, I feel sorry, what do you do? How do you move to a place where you become part of the solution? How do we stop waiting for someone else to come because nobody else will come? Even when you're looking at the situation in Haiti, I am telling you, read my lips, nobody else will come unless we, Haitians, we decide to stand up. We decide to take matters into our own hands and shape a new destiny. Nobody will come. Now, if we are serious about changing our conditions, if we are changing about living a new life, other people will join us on our journey, but we must start. So I challenge you to take some time and think about those things and see how we can make it a better day for a much stronger community. Our best days are ahead of us. My name is Dr. Ralph CHERIZA, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Until next time, have a good one.
Toujours là.